world, my name is Ashley Collins. Welcome to my YouTube channel, The Breakup Diaries. I feel like all of my videos start off with, I was talking to a friend. So we're going to skip to the chase scene. You already know that I was talking to a friend and they inspired me to make this video, okay? But in all seriousness, I'm doing this Bible study challenge with a friend of mine, and we're reading the chapter of the book of Ephesians. Is that right? But she challenged me to read it and do affirmations with it. I am prosperous, I'm divine. And I started doing it yesterday, and it felt forced. It felt wrong. It felt like a lie, you know? I used to do morning affirmations every morning, and I would listen to the song, Saturn by Sleeping at Last. You should totally listen to the song. It's so otherworldly. I can't talk today. But lately I've just been having a hard time because I don't believe it, you know. So I started writing them, and I stopped. And yesterday was a really, really bad mental health day for me. I just couldn't stop crying, and I was like, God, this feeling fucking sucks. And I was talking to a friend on Facebook, and I was like, I've never physically felt this depressed before. You know, I've had, like, you know, like bad mental thoughts, but I've never felt it in my body. You know, that tingling urge, that restlessness, that where I'm tired but I can't go to sleep, that where I'm hungry but I don't feel like eating. You know, that those aches and those pains. I've never felt this physically in my body before, and it's really throwing me off. And it's like, for someone who has a very active lifestyle, I try to go to the gym every day. I try to go for daily walks. I'm taking jujitsu classes, but it's like I have no energy. Does that make sense? So yeah, so yesterday I was just thinking, why don't you so silly. Just keep going with me here, and if you're still watching, I appreciate you. Why don't you make a I knew I was gonna mess that up. Every time I practice something, it never works out. I don't know why. Okay. Why don't you make a list of reasons why you should live? So here are my 13 reasons why I should live. I hope you understand the rest. I'm not going to redo this video because I've redone this 5 times. But I hope you understand the reference with 13 Reasons Why, the controversial Netflix show where the girl gives 13 reasons why she killed herself, and she's like blaming other people. I never saw it. I also have this thing about, like, I don't like watching teenage high school shows. I just feel a little weird about it. That's another video for another day. But but why don't I change the script and say 13 reasons why I want to live? Here are my personal ones, okay? I'm so scared to read them out loud. Okay, cool. Reason number 1. I haven't seen snow. I'm a Floridian. I've lived here all of my such and such years of life. And I've never freaking seen snow. I remember once we visited my aunt who lives in Atlanta, and when we were driving off, it started snowing. But I was like tired and I fell asleep. I want to see snow so bad. I know a lot of people were like, oh, it's anticlimactic, it's gross, it's disgusting. And I'm like, but I would like to experience that myself. I've never seen a mountain. Like I said, I'm a Florida girl. You know, like I see tons of fucking trees. If I see another beach, I'm going to fucking scream, you know? I want to see terrains. I want to see earth. I want to see actual hills. I've never left the country. This is kind of like a white lie. I went on a cruise. Trash. I know. If you go on a cruise, you're trashy. I get it. I didn't know. I was young. But I went on a cruise, and we went to Cozumel. But we didn't experience Cozumel. You know, we saw the touristy side, you know, so that's not really like seeing other countries, you know, like I really, really, really passionately want to go to Ireland. I have no idea why, but I want to go to Ireland. I want to see Asia. I want to go to Australia. I want to go to New Zealand and see where they filmed Lord of the Rings. I want to see the Hobbit hole so bad. Okay. I should have saved this for last, but I should outlive my mom. I have a friend who just lost a loved one, and they left a suicide video and everything, and the family is so devastated. And I think a lot of the mindset is you were supposed to outlive me. Okay, moving on. I haven't met Oprah. So one of the things that I do to help me fall asleep is I picture future me and with my studio audience, and I imagine being like, okay guys, I've talked about this all my life and now it's actually happening, and please give a warm welcome to Oprah. And she walks on and everyone's screaming, ah, and like we're hugging each other, and I'm like, I was like, I meditated on this. I prayed for this all my life. And yeah, I want to meet Oprah. I don't know why. That's so weird. I haven't been on the Joe Rogan podcast. I want to go on the Joe Rogan podcast. And I know that I said before that I'm not a big fan of smoking, but I will break that rule if I could sit down and have a 2.5 hour chat with Joe Rogan, and we can hopefully I'll be a stronger belt by then. We can grapple, we'll work out at his gym, and we'll drink, and we'll just talk about life and all that fun shit. It looks like such a rewarding experience. I just spit, forgive me. But yeah, I want to be a guest on the Joe Rogan podcast in person. You know, if Spotify doesn't cancel him. Like, stop being so sensitive, everyone. Okay. This one is so, I know. Mind you guys, I'm writing this while I'm like tearing up, and I'm like on the phone at work. Okay. I haven't made out with Chris Evans. Now, let's say by the time I actually get to meet him, he'll probably be married, right? But just being in his presence and his gloriousness, that'll be very rewarding for me. Also, I imagine I want to see the Marvel cast reunion 30 years from now, 40 years from now. I want to see them like all on the stage being like, hey, do you remember when we were like young and we could like do our own stunts and stuff like that? I think it'll be such a fun reunion show. Don't you think? And I would, yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to in my older life. And I'd be like, when I was your age, I lusted over Chris Evans. Yeah. I haven't performed on Broadway. A lot of people don't know my background, my history, but I went to school for theater, and I performed heavily, very strong, for 4 or 5 years. I mean, in total, it was like 10 to 15 years of my life, but then I just stopped. But we're going to do a video on that, like, on another time, on why I stopped. But, lately I've been getting that itch to perform again, but I'm scared. And one day I would love to perform on Broadway. And I know it's not going to be closed forever because, it's Broadway. It's what makes New York great, as well as other things, But when I think New York, I think of Broadway, I've also been taking voice lessons. Okay. I'm not a quitter. I'm the kind of person that I will follow through with something until I get broken up with, until I get fired, until I get told off. I'll keep going and going and going until life is like, okay, enough, Ashley. But yeah, I'm not a quitter. Okay. I wrote down, I think I'd look good with gray hair. That sounds like such a vain thing to say, but I do think that I would. Like when I start graying, which is hopefully more later than sooner. Like I don't think I'll dye my hair. I think I'll just let it stay gray. I think it'd be like, I would love like Cruella de Vil hair where it's like gray and black. Like I would love that. I haven't been to space. I want to go to space so so bad. You have no idea. And you're like, you're not an astronaut. Ashley, I know I'm not an astronaut, but it's like, can a girl dream? You know? Like, shoot for the moon. I'll at least be a part of the stars, right? I'm one of those people where if they need people to live on Mars for like X amount of years, I'd be like, I volunteer. Like, I volunteer as tribute, you know? I haven't gone deep sea scuba diving. And yeah, I know you're thinking, like, as a Floridian, I should have done that. But here's the thing though. I'm a little scared of the ocean. Like, I went scuba diving once at Disney, so it was like in a controlled environment, and like there were sharks and sea turtles, but like it was a controlled environment, you know? I want to go deep sea, like deep sea. You know, like I want to touch the like reefs and shit like that, you know? That excites me so much. I don't know why. Like, even talking about it now, I'm like overly excited. I haven't been on Doctor Who. Like I said, my background is in performing, and I really want to be on Doctor Who. Yeah, I would love to like be like a special guest on an episode, or maybe like I'll be a companion for like a whole fucking season. Cause yeah, the only woman of color companion was Martha Stewart, and they didn't treat her very kindly. If you don't know what Doctor Who is, it's a BBC show. I'm obsessed with BBC television, so you should totally watch it. There's tons of episodes. It's been on the air for 50 years, so yeah. You have plenty of time to watch it. Oh, and a bonus. I know I already gave my 13th, but a bonus is I haven't grappled with Brian Gurley yet. If you don't know who he is, he's a genius, influencer, entrepreneur, business owner. He's amazing. You should totally go check out his channels. Like I said, Brian Gurley on Instagram, Facebook, Monkey D. Brian on TikTok, Monkey D. Brian on Spotify. He's everywhere. You'll find him. Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of people commenting that they're having a hard time during this quarantine, because cabin fever is so real, right? Like being locked up and holed up in the house all day, you know, and like being uncomfortable in the mask, and they're having like an existential crisis, right? Can I challenge you and say that these are one of the tactics that you should try? And it doesn't have to be so serious. As you can see, my list is a little silly, but I feel like we take life so seriously, especially this happens every election period. Everyone is so mean and so crass to each other. And it's like, do we have to do this replay every 4 years, guys? Do we have to be so mean and so cruel to each other every 4 fucking years just because I don't agree with what you believe in? And I just did an interview with Brian Gurley. This is probably the video before, but he was saying that we're all so busy thinking about I. There is no we anymore. What's for the betterment of society? What's for the betterment of everyone? I remember when the quarantine first started, I saw this viral video, and I think it was in either Paris or Italy, but they were all outside their doors singing. And I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to do that. We're going to do that in America. And it's like, that hasn't happened, you know? I also wrote down some talking points. Okay. So when you're making your 13 reasons to live list, have an accountability partner. If you're struggling mentally, emotionally, same thing, during this quarantine, find an accountability partner who's going to do things with you, not just to check in. I always feel uneasy when people are checking in on me, because it's like I'm not a child, you know? Like, you don't need to babysit me, but if you want to do this journey with me, I'd love to. You know, I have an accountability partner with meditating, with for work, you know, like we challenge each other, you know, like how many numbers, what are your numbers like today? What are your numbers like today? I have an accountability partner for prayer, you know. So having those people who are actively doing things with you and actually talking about it, discussing it, helps. Having a Zoom buddy helps loads. I've had multiple Zoom buddies throughout this quarantine. I had Zoom buddies with at work, with the podcast that I've done. I need to confess this. I have a sleeping partner. I have a sleeping buddy. Not actual physical, but we FaceTime each other. And when I'm having a hard time falling asleep, I'm like, can you just can we just leave the camera on and just go to sleep? And I know it sounds so weird, it sounds so strange because we're not talking, we're just listening to each other snore, but it's kind of comforting, you know? I think a lot for me, my depression stems from what I've done in the past, my history, that I'm a fuck up and I ruin everything and I'm overly emotional. I had a little tiff the other day and I started crying and I was like, don't feel sorry for me. Like, this is what I do. Like, when I'm very passionate about something, I cry. But it's like, I need to stop doing that, you know? I don't know. Do I though? Like, I like that I can tap into my emotions. I like that I allow myself to feel things. And shouldn't we do that? Shouldn't we? Because when you hold on to those pent up emotions, that's when the rage comes, right? That's when the, well, you never listen to me comes out. You know, it's like, well, you never talk, you know? I don't know where I get this from. My boss does this. Whenever we're in Zoom meetings, she's always touching her hair and playing with her hair. Now I've adopted her habit. But she's so awesome. She's such a great human being. She's really helped me a lot during this. But the story that I keep telling myself is that I'm going to keep repeating those same habits and nothing's going to get better. But things will get better. Don't look at your future as if things that you've done in your past, right? Think of the grandest thing. I want to go to fucking space, you know? Think of the grandest, most ridiculous thing and hold on to that. You know, like, and it's like, I'll never understand, not trying to judge, but I'll never understand people who don't want to travel. What was the point of the people inventing planes and boats and trains and bridges? Because there's a whole other world out there, you know? And it's like, we have yet to experience it, so we keep staying in this bubble, and we think that this is life, and that's not life. There are so many other cuisines you haven't eaten, wine you haven't drank, people you haven't talked to, people you haven't made out with. I mean, I guess we shouldn't make out with strangers because, you know, COVID, but, you know. But, like, there is so much more to look forward to. Don't let this temporary feeling, and you know what's happening right now? This pain is a symptom. It's a cough. It's a headache. It's a toothache. It's a symptom. You know what the cure is? Taking time to yourself. This quarantine, when was the last time that you had a whole week of rest? Now you're having extended weeks of rest, right? But take this time to work on yourself. And what do I mean by that? Maybe it's not spending an hour meditating. You should, but maybe that's not something that maybe your meditation is not sitting alone and quiet. Maybe your meditation is going outside and working on a project, gardening, working on your car, cleaning your house, cleaning your room. I know. Taking that time to yourself to work on projects that you've been putting off because you never had the time because you were so busy with work, because you were so busy with school, you know? Another great thing you can do is support your friends and their projects. Listen to their podcasts, watch their YouTube videos, read their book, read their blog. I have a friend, Walter Matthews, and he has a blog on Medium. I had no idea what Medium was until until he introduced me to it. But he's writing posts consistently every week. Oh, I have another friend, L Infinite Souls, who posts maybe like 2 or 3 times a week with helpful tips on how to take care of yourself. And she writes quotes of the day. Your friends are doing amazing, phenomenal things. And maybe you should take some time to support them, you know, and sharing it and commenting and maybe giving them some helpful tips and notes, you know. And I also think it's beautiful because you're getting a glimpse into who they are, you know. Like, it's so hard sometimes communicating via text, you know, because like you often misinterpret words, you make assumptions. But when you're watching them in their element, when you're reading them in their environment, it's very like, oh, now I see you, you know. What else? God, this is taking so long. I'm so sorry. God, I hate that I made a 20-minute video. I apologize, but thank you so much for sticking till the end. There's no prize, but thank you. The first law of thermodynamics is energy is, I have to read it. Energy cannot be destroyed or created, right? It's only converted from one form to the other. This pain that you're feeling temporarily, this symptom, this cough, this cold, this energy will be transferred into joy later. But just hold on. Okay? One day, you're gonna laugh till you cry again. One day, you're gonna be so full with food and with joy and with love. You're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I remember that time when I was sleeping on the floor at my mom's house feeling sorry for myself. That energy will be converted, but just hang on. Things will get better. I am and always will be the optimist. I am always a person that, fuck the glass is half full, fuck the glass is half empty, fuck it. The glass is refillable, so it doesn't matter. Last thing, and then I have to go and have to put on a shirt and clock into work. I was wearing sports bras during our Zoom meetings when my boss was like, yo, you can't do that. But I'm like, Jesus Christ. But okay, I get it. Professional work environment, whatever. I get it. But I see a lot of people post things like, oh, someone needs you here, someone needs your story today. Okay, cool, that's nice. That's really cute to say now. But we need to look at long term, okay? Friends have been suggesting that I read this book, read that book. And I'm like, okay, I'll add it to the list, okay? But I'll like Google the summary to see if I'll even actually enjoy it, right? And then I'll look at the author. And they're dead. And I'm like, did they even realize that someone would be suggesting this book in the future? Did Shakespeare ever think in his mind, and I know you're probably thinking he didn't write his own plays, he stole it, whatever. Okay, conspiracy theory, whatever. Did Shakespeare ever think that hundreds of years from now, people would make 1,000 different adaptations to Romeo and Juliet? He probably didn't. So think in the history of life, right? In the whole big history book of life, you have a chapter. What will you contribute to that chapter? And because someone's going to read that chapter in the future, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now, and that should make you hopeful. I don't know. Maybe I'm delusional. But if you're going to be delusional, why don't you tell yourself the best kind of delusional story? You know? I don't know. Everyone gets a page. Either you can have the page of the serial killer, or you can have the page of someone who did something useful and fruitful and contributed to society. You get to write that story. Cool. Did I also want to say something else? No, that's it. Cool. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to. You don't have to though. I encourage free thinkers. So, but I hope that you write your 13 reasons why you should live, and know that in the grand scheme of the history of Earth, that you are leaving your mark. Okay? Thank you so much for listening. So sorry that this was an hour and a half. No, this was a half hour. Jesus. Okay. Oh, one last thing. Gosh, I'm sorry. I do want to shout out Love and Deb, who is leaving her mark on the world through her YouTube channel and through her Instagram. And she gave me this bracelet. It says, "You are loved, you are valued, and you are beautiful." And I don't know if you've noticed this, but I've worn it almost every video that I've done. And I don't know. She gifted it to me maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and it's all tarnished and like it's falling apart, but it's like, I don't know. It makes me happy. So thank you, Love and Deb. Okay, now we're gonna end this. I'm gonna go to put on a shirt. Thank you. Bye.